During the second half of the 1979 season, the Chicago Bears have relentlessly driven toward the playoffs, winning 6 of their last 7. That drive concludes today at Wintry Soldier Field, where the St. Louis Cardinals hope to spoil the Bears' bid for a wild card berth. It's nippy in Dallas, too. Here the Cowboys confront the Washington Redskins, also in contention for that very same berth. Either Washington or Chicago is destined to finish out in the cold. The support of over 42,000 chilly but loyal fans provided incentive for the Bears' task. More was provided by the death of club president George Halas Jr. And in this game, every incentive would be needed because it would take more than a victory to put Chicago in the playoffs. They also needed to score enough points to make up a 33-point deficit to the Redskins. Thus, it was not merely enough for the Bears to be hungry. They would have to be downright ravenous. In Green Bay last week, the Bears only managed 15 points, and their only touchdown came through the courtesy of their defense. But on the very first Bears series, Mike Phipps signaled what would be a complete turnaround for Chicago's offense, as he engineered a 69-yard drive in 12 plays. Phipps concluded the drive by playing his ace, an ace named Walter Payton, number 34. Also at stake was Payton's quest for a 4th straight NFC rushing title. He entered the game 115 yards behind the Cardinals' O.J. Anderson. Despite the 20-degree temperature and 23 miles per hour winds, Soldier Field was radiating with the heat generated by the Bears' offense. It didn't take long for Phipps to continue to keep the home fires burning. The next Bears series was culminated by a 10-yard touchdown pass to fullback Dave Williams, number 22, Chicago's leading receiver. An offensive blitzkrieg was something unexpected for the Bears, but a Bears team vying for the playoffs was also unexpected. More typical of Chicago is a defensive blitzkrieg. They maintained the status quo by victimizing number 32, O.J. Anderson, who could only manage 39 yards and 14 carries as he saw his hopes for an NFC rushing title upended. The Bears also intimidated quarterback Steve Pisarkowitz, who watched this game turn into a nightmare in which he hit on only 5 of 28 passes and threw 2 interceptions. In the second quarter, number 48 Allen Ellis swiped a Pisarkowitz pass, standard operating procedure for a defense that paces the NFC in interceptions. The theft allowed Phipps to continue his pinpoint passing. He was simply superb as he completed 12 of his first 13 passes. Yet another Bears drive concluded with a Walter Payton score. Payton's 13th rushing touchdown of the season gave him the NFC lead in that department. The first half concluded with the Bears holding a commanding lead, but they still needed more in a game where total points would determine their postseason fortunes. As the second half began, the Cardinals started to show signs of life. Phipps' recklessness forced the Bears to punt, allowing number 38 Lee Nelson to turn on the juice. After the 77-yard punt return, veteran Jim Hart took over, and he sought out number 83, Pat Tilley, for 6 points. Hart had lost his job to Pisarkowitz in a controversial move ordained by Cardinals owner Billy Bidwell, a move that resulted in the firing of head coach Bud Wilkinson. But Hart's chance to salvage his dignity was ruined when he suffered a pinched nerve on the play. St. Louis's misfortune continued when the Bears blocked the conversion attempt. Obviously, the Bears were thinking victory margin, and that thinking continued on the ensuing kickoff when number 80, Ricky Watts, raced 83 yards for a touchdown. Watt's performance during the second half of the season has given Chicago an added threat. The rookie from Tulsa provides the Bears with much-needed breakaway speed. The touchdown dashed Larry Wilson's hopes for a third consecutive victory since replacing Wilkinson. Wilson's chagrin would not be relieved as the Bears' defense continued to maul Pisarkowitz. The Johnny-on-the-spot quarterback was Johnny on the turf in this game as he was sacked 8 times. Moreover, it didn't matter who handled the ball for the Cardinals. He could look forward to a Chicago rush that methodically and frequently penetrated the St. Louis backfield. To sustain their offense, the Bears were willing to try anything, and anything usually succeeded. Despite the chicanery, the Bears found that conventional methods were more efficient in bringing them closer to the end zone. These methods included a chance for Ricky Watts to demonstrate his receiving skills. But when it came time to increase the Bears' lead, Phipps demonstrated that his ace was far from played out. Playing the role of superhero has never been difficult for Peyton, but this season he is only the most notable superhero on a team laden with them. Peyton simply could not be contained, and in gaining 157 yards for the game, he wrested the rushing title away from Anderson. Ricky Watts also showed that he could not be contained either. Not even by St. Louis's best defensive back, number 22, Roger Worley. The Bears piled up 465 yards in total offense on their way to their biggest victory margin in 14 years. Despite the abundance of points on the scoreboard, the Bears still wanted more. While a penalty denied Peyton his 4th touchdown, the Bears' come-through performance was deserving of applause. The 42-6 victory proved Chicago was made of the right stuff. But now the Bears' fate was in the hands of the Dallas Cowboys. It would be left to them to allow Chicago an opportunity to prove their stuff in the playoffs. The Redskin-Cowboy rivalry is more intense now than during the George Allen era in Washington. It has transcended dislike and bitterness into absolute hatred. With a division title on the line, the Redskins dispensed with the usually early feints and jabs and came out bombing. Quarterback Joe Theismann quickly exploited the weakness of the Doomsday defense, their pass defense. Then John Riggins probed the Cowboys' left side, undermanned since the retirement of Jethro Pugh and Ed Too Tall Jones. The Redskins built an early 10-0 lead when a Theismann bootleg completely baffled the Cowboys. Under the cool leadership of Theismann, the Redskins have been one of the surprise teams of the NFC this year. In the preseason, everyone picked them near the bottom of their division. But here in Week 16, they were less than 60 minutes away from a championship. The route seemed on when Benny Malone, number 25, turned a simple circle pattern into a 55-yard spectacular. Malone's shocking touchdown made the score 17-0 in favor of Washington. By now, the Redskins knew that Chicago had defeated St. Louis by a whopping 36 points, so their sole hope for a playoff berth rested in victory over Dallas. With the day growing colder, the Cowboy offense finally warmed up as Roger Staubach concentrated his attack on the middle of the field. Roger utilized the Pearsons, Drew, number 88, and Preston, number 26. The end result was a Dallas Cowboy touchdown. Preston Pearson's brilliant catch, coupled with a touchdown by Ron Springs, cut the Redskins' lead to 17-14 at the half. The Cowboys had proved they could score, but what they had not proved was whether they could stop Coach Joe Walton's well-designed Redskin offense. In the third quarter, the Doomsday defense shut out Washington with a concerted pass rush led by Old Pro Larry Cole, number 63. With the Redskins laying back deep, Staubach had success with a variety of medium-range plays. A conservative square out to number 80, Tony Hill, was followed by some Cowboy flim-flam, a reverse to spare wide receiver Butch Johnson, number 86. The drive culminated when Robert Newhouse scored from 2 yards out. After being shell-shocked by a fired-up Washington offense, the Cowboys overtook the Redskins midway through the third quarter. But once again, Dallas's pass defense failed to meet the challenge. Cliff Harris, number 43, clearly interfered with Ricky Thompson in the end zone, giving Washington the ball on the 1. On the next play, John Riggins powered over, and the Redskins regained the lead. The Cowboys had not shown the ability to consistently stop the Redskin offense. After a doomsday-dominated third quarter, the Cowboys made the big mistake that returned the momentum to the Washington side. A Dallas victory appeared to hinge not on their explosive offense, but rather on a defense that had been mediocre at best all year long. The outlook would quickly darken for the Cowboys on the next Washington possession. John Riggins, showing surprising speed, turned the right corner and outraced Cowboy sprinter Dennis Thurman to the goal line. Riggins' second touchdown within 3 minutes upped Washington's lead to 34-21 with 7 minutes remaining and capped a brilliant afternoon for Riggins. He rushed for 151 yards on 22 carries, consistently attacking the weakened left side of the Dallas front four. The Cowboys were visibly shaken. Riggins' run appeared to put the finishing touches on another strong Redskins performance. Dallas's ability to make the big play would have to surface in a hurry if the Cowboys were to pull out the victory. With that in mind, Roger Staubach went to work, effectively hitting his talented wide receivers Butch Johnson and Tony Hill. Staubach quickly brought the Cowboys to the Redskin 26. Going with the shotgun to take maximum advantage of his setbacks receiving skills, Staubach found Ron Springs, number 20, over the middle for the score. And the Cowboys had cut Washington's lead to 6 with just over 2 minutes left. A second look at the play reveals how well Staubach utilizes his backs in the Cowboys' passing attack. Springs found the crease between the linebackers and the secondary and did the rest on his own. Springs' value to the Cowboys has been magnified with the injury to Tony Dorsett. A fifth-round draft choice from Ohio State, Springs went virtually unnoticed after a mediocre senior season. His performance this year once again pays tribute to the Cowboys' front office. Springs filled Preston Pearson's role admirably earlier in the year and is now the Cowboys' starter at halfback. Some speculate that his many talents will land him the fullback spot in the Dallas backfield next season. Dallas's chance for victory would now rest with their suspect defense. Doomsday was up to the task, returning the ball to Staubach with 1:46 left. Once again, Staubach went to his backs, this time Preston Pearson, number 26. Pearson caught 2 passes in the final drive, the second one bringing the ball to the Redskin 8-yard line. The Redskin fate was in the hands of their defense. It was a certainty that Dallas would put the ball in the air. Staubach went to Tony Hill in the right corner, and the Redskin dream of a division title and a playoff berth seemed to go up in smoke. With 39 seconds remaining, the Cowboys had battled back from a 13-point fourth-quarter deficit to lead 35-34. The touchdown capped a great day for Tony Hill. The All-Pro wide receiver caught 8 passes for 113 yards, allowing him to go over 1,000 yards for the season. Hill joined teammate Drew Pearson as the only receiving tandem in the NFC to accomplish that feat. A Redskin loss would eliminate Washington from the playoffs. Joe Theismann would fight the clock as well as a Cowboy defense primed for the pass as he tried to set up a Mark Mosley field goal. Again, the Dallas secondary made a crucial mistake, and with 5 seconds to go, Theismann needed one more completion for Mosley to have a chance. Theismann got the completion, and a frantic Clarence Harmon attempted to call timeout. Cowboy relief turned to confusion as the officials debated whether the Redskins would have a shot at the playoffs or not. The decision was made. Time had expired, and in the space of 40 seconds, the Redskins had gone from division winners to a team that would not even be in the playoffs. The Redskins had more than proven their capabilities as a football team. In 2 games against the NFC champion, they had clearly outplayed the Cowboys, only to lose the second one 35-34. The unexpected success of the Chicago Bears had cost Washington a playoff berth, much more than their own failures.